FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I have a video I'd like to show. It's a short video that basically gets at what a typical day felt like during this deployment. If you've ever wondered what the surge felt like, this is what it felt like. Blue sky, hot temperatures, another mission to get from here to there, another convoy. Each convoy had 4 or 5 Humvees. Each Humvee had 4 or 5 soldiers inside. Each soldier was wearing 70 pounds of gear. They always wore body armor that encased them in thick ceramic plates. They wore bullet-resistant glasses, heat-resistant gloves, knee pads, and elbow pads. They carried tourniquets, bandages, 240 rounds of ammunition, and grenades. All of them carried an assault rifle. Some of them carried good luck charms. Some would sit with one foot in front of the other, so if a roadside bomb went off, they might lose one foot instead of 2. Sometimes they joked about what their last words would be. But always, every day, they would get in their Humvees and off they would go. This day, the trip was from one base in Eastern Baghdad to another, along a road called Route Pluto. They drove at 10 miles per hour, maybe 15, to increase chances of finding a bomb before it went off. Finally, almost there, the first Humvee turned right off the main road. You can see it in the distance right now. There it goes. And then...
Get a radio call with them.
This day there were some injuries, but no deaths. Other days were different, but every day felt like this in the surge. This is what could happen at any moment. This is what it was like. So, yeah, that's what it turned out to be like. In East Baghdad, at that point, the neighborhoods had been pretty well cleansed, and the west side of the Tigris River was largely Sunni at this point, and the east side, especially the crescent that the 216 got, which is outside of Sadr City. It was a Shiite area where the weapon of choice, well, in West Baghdad, there were suicide bombers, snipers. On the east side, there were some snipers that soldiers had to deal with, but the main weapon used against the soldiers was a particular type of roadside bomb called an EFP, which stands for explosively formed penetrator. And I just want to take a second and explain this thing. Cost maybe $100 to make. It's a tube filled with explosives, and at the end of the tube was, it's almost the size of a dinner plate. It was a milled piece of copper that was fitted onto the end of the tube. And either electronically or through a buried wire, someone would be standing far away in the shadows of Eastern Baghdad with an aiming point in the distance that might be a tilted light pole, just whatever the aiming point was. He would sit there or stand there, and when the convoy reached that aiming point, he would depress the trigger. The explosives would explode. Off would go this copper disc with such velocity that it immediately became semi-molten, almost took on the shape of a tadpole, and simply burned through whatever was in front of it, whether it was the thickest armored door of a Humvee that cost the U.S. Army $200,000, or whether it was the soldiers inside.